Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start the session with the question, what is this editorial about? This is about the stand taken by Indian government regarding the conflict in the West Asian region, especially between Israel and Gaza. This editorial discusses India's evolving stance, means a change in the stand or the stance on the conflict between Israel and Gaza. It highlights the shift in India's position. What is that shift in the position from abstaining in a previous UN General Assembly resolution to voting in favor of a resolution demanding a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza? In the previous voting, India abstained. Abstain means to keep away from. But the present voting, it has voted in favor of a resolution. What is that resolution? Demanding a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. So this is about that. What is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial appears to be critical and urging. Critical, criticizing a particular stand or a particular government, and urging. Urge is a formal word. Urge means a request a lot. Conflict, battle, strife, all these words you can use. Who is that? Naidu, Paidi, very good. So, how does it start? Principled shift. Here, excuse me. Principle. Principle can be a noun, can be a verb. In this context, it has been used as a noun, adjective. It can be an adjective. Principled shift means what? Based on the principles, there is a shift on India's stand on Gaza. But what is the main idea of this editorial? India must take a more vocal position on Gaza with Israel. So India must take. Already we have got this many a time. It is used, the helping verb must is used to either express a personal obligation or to say something is compulsory. In this context, it is a stand taken by the editorial. Here, India must take a more vocal position, means they have to demand more with more force, vocal position on what? On Gaza with Israel. Before 6 a.m. Who is that, Pandu? This itself is an uphill task, and you want it to be presented before 6 a.m. That would be very difficult, Pandu. Let us see how it starts and what is the background information. 2 months after Israel's bombardment, I use this word quite often when I talk to my students. I tell students every day you are bombarded with a lot of information. So bombard meant noun form. Bombard means what? Attack a place or person continuously with bombs, shells, or other missiles. The word bombardment usually goes with war. But when I say you are bombarded with a lot of information every day in and day out, what does it mean? You are given a lot of information while preparing for competitive exams. 2 months after Israel's bombardment of Gaza residents in retaliation. Another important word, though we have got many a time, retaliate verb form, retaliation noun form. What does it mean? Make an attack in return for a similar attack. Someone troubles you, you try to trouble that person, then we say it is nothing but retaliation. So 2 months after Israel's bombardment of Gaza residents in retaliation for the October 7th terror attacks by Hamas began, India joined its voice to the global call. India joined its voice to the global call to stop the bombing. So, what is a global call? What is a global demand? Stop the bombing. And India has joined, voting in favor of a resolution at the UN General Assembly, along with 152 other nations. Now, at this juncture, India has taken a stand, and there's a change in the stand. Earlier, it abstained from voting. Now, it has voted in favor of a resolution. What is that resolution? And where is this resolution? At the UN General Assembly. And what is that? In favor of stopping bombing or in favor of ceasefire, along with 152 other nations. Here, whatever you see in green, grammar related, in favor of an important phrase you have to remember. The resolution demanded an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. So, what is this resolution? This resolution demands something, demanded something. What has it demanded? An immediate humanitarian ceasefire. There are two words over here. One is humanitarian, adjective, ceasefire, noun. Humanitarian means what? Concerned with or seeking to promote human welfare. It is understood, quite obvious. Humanitarian means welfare towards the humanity. And ceasefire, cease means to stop. And very good. Who is that? Naidu Paidi. Armistice. Very good. That's an important word. And a temporary stoppage of a war. We stop the war for a short period. That is known as ceasefire. You should also look at the words Naidu Paidi. He has used three words: ceasefire, armistice, and truce. All the three words are very important. I appreciate that, Naidu. Here, humanitarian ceasefire and observance of international humanitarian law, the unconditional release of all hostages, as well as ensuring humanitarian access. So, a few demands. One is observance of international humanitarian law, comply with international humanitarian law, one thing. The unconditional release of all hostages, another thing. And hostage means what? A person who has been kept in captivity in demand of something, as well as, I should have brought this in green. Whenever we use expressions like with, along with, as well as, together with, and many more are there, the verb agrees with the first subject, as well as, that you have to recollect. Ensuring humanitarian access. There should be some sort of access, humanitarian access. India's vote was a shift. The same idea is being reiterated. Change in the shift. India's vote was a shift from its previous vote at the last such UNGA resolution on October 27th, when, despite the death of 8,000 Gazans, India had decided to abstain from voting for a resolution that called for a ceasefire. So, in the past, first action, second action. Already you have learned past perfect many a time. When there are two actions that happened in the past, one after the other, for the first action we use past perfect. For the second one we use past tense. So, what is the first action? Earlier voting, India abstained from voting. Present recently happened. It has voted in favor of a resolution demanding ceasefire. Main idea is being reiterated with specific dates. The government and MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, explained this to be a matter of principle. Based on this sentence, they have started with principled shift. The government and the MEA explained this to be a matter of principle as part of India's zero tolerance, means no tolerance approach towards terrorism, as the earlier resolution did not contain an explicit condemnation of the October 7 attacks. Now it talks about zero tolerance policy. Zero tolerance means not tolerating, not accepting, and regarding what? Towards terrorism. Why should it do that? As the earlier resolution did not contain an explicit condemnation of the October 7 attacks. Explicit, clearly stated, fully revealed, or expressed. You should also recollect the word implicit. Explicit, implicit. Implicit, very good, Suresh. Implicit means what? Implied, indirect. Yes, Anisha. Explicit, direct. Condemnation. Condemn means what? To publicly disapprove, to criticize something or someone strongly and publicly of the October 7 attacks. However, while the UNGA resolution passed on December 12 bears no direct mention of the terror attacks, India has voted in favor. India has voted in favor. It does not talk about that. No direct mention of the terror attacks. India has voted in favor. Present perfect. Now, what is the reason behind? Although the government has yet to detail an important expression, I always tell students whenever you come across the word yet, you have to be alert. One, it is an adverb, it goes with present perfect usually. The train hasn't come yet. The word yet should be at the end of the sentence. But again, if someone asks, has a train come? You can say yet to come. Yet to come is a standard expression, same pattern, yet to detail. Here, detail has been used as a verb. Although the government has yet to detail the rationale means what? The reason, a basic reason or explanation for something, justification. There could be several reasons. Could be several reasons. I should have brought it in green. Could here talks about possibility, but the chances are less. To express the possibility, chances less, we have three helping verbs: could, might, and should. But a lot of Indians know might, they use might, but the native speakers use could and should also. All the three, could, should, and might, express a possibility, but chances are less. And chances are more, we use a helping verb may. There could be several reasons. Possibility, what are they? Casualty figures have risen, rise, rose, risen. And you have to recollect the other verb, raise, raised, raised. That is a regular verb. Rise, rose, risen, an irregular verb, and also an intransitive verb. Casualty figures have risen relentlessly without stopping. Usually, I tell youngsters, those who are preparing for competitive exams, you always put in relentless efforts. Means what? Continuing in a severe or extreme way. Your relentless efforts will definitely bear fruit in the near future. Do remember, relentlessly adverbial form with 18,000 dead, and the highest such toll means the number of nearly more than 80% of the entire population is homeless. I think something is missing over here. More than 80% of the entire population is homeless. Even the US, Israel is the biggest ally. Ally, we have got many a time. A country, usually in this context also, that is friendly or join some other country at the time of war. And here, death toll, a typical expression. Very good, Anisha. Even as the US, Israel's biggest ally, estimates that nearly half of the 29,000 air to ground munitions, we have got this word already. Munitions means what? Military weapons, ammunition, equipment, and stores. But in this context, we don't talk about the stores, we talk more about military weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Equipment, you got to be alert. You have to remember there is no plural form. Equipment's not correct. Equipment. 29,000 air to ground munitions deployed, placed in position by Israel thus far are unguided or indiscriminate missiles. Now, Israel has used a lot of missiles, munitions, and all these it has deployed. All these are either unguided or indiscriminate missiles. That is very dangerous. When a particular country or a particular group uses missiles indiscriminately, obviously innocent people get killed. That's what going on right now. It has to be guided or it has to attack, discriminate in the sense attack the terrorists, but indiscriminately or without any proper guideline, unguided or indiscriminate, innocent people get affected. Second, Israeli defense forces have gone far beyond. Have gone is present perfect, and far beyond, an important phrase you have to remember, far beyond what? Their original mandate of eliminating Hamas capacity and freeing the hostages to a large scale flattening of Gaza and forced occupation of more territory. Initially, they made a statement. They said the objective of this attack eliminate Hamas and free the hostages. But they've gone far beyond. What is that going far beyond? Here, flattening, large scale flattening of Gaza, one thing, and forced occupation of more territory, another thing. That is going far beyond. More than 100 Israeli hostages remain in Hamas custody. So, hostage, a person held by one party in a conflict in demand of something. Third, all these are factors. Third, global opinion, including Indian public opinion, has moved decidedly from sympathy with Israel initially to horror at the unfolding aftermath. And New Delhi could not have been immune to entreaties by Palestine and the Gulf states to take a relook at its vote, even as India stood isolated in South Asia and the global South for its previous abstention. A lengthy sentence, it is more like a paragraph, but what does it talk about? It talks about first thing the global opinion. The global opinion against the war, against the bombardment by Israel. And not only the global opinion, including Indian public opinion. Indian public opinion also against Israel at this stage has moved decidedly from sympathy with Israel. Initially, there was sympathy with Israel because Hamas attacked, many innocent Israelis got killed, but now it has changed to horror, means that to get frightened, shocked at the unfolding aftermath. Unfolding means opening up. Aftermath means what? The consequences or after effects of a significant unpleasant event. After the bombardment, then we say aftermath. And New Delhi couldn't have been immune. Could have been immune talks about a past possibility. Something was to happen but did not happen. Here it is in the negative form. Couldn't have been immune to entreaties, an important word we have got for the first time. Entreaties, an earnest or humble request. Usually we come across the word urge, but do remember it's a new word we have got for the first time. Entreaty, an earnest or humble request by Palestine and the Gulf states to take a relook at its vote. That's why it has done it. Even as India stood isolated in South Asia and the global South for its previous abstention. Earlier, it abstained. That time it got isolated. Now it has changed their stand. The second part of the editorial, it may be too early to see India's UNGA vote as a reversal of its earlier position and a reversion to its original position in the conflict where it has traditionally called for peace. Traditionally, we talk about peace. Now, it is too early to look at it, the stand taken by India, as a reversal. That's what the sentence is. Perhaps we have to wait for more time. Much will depend on the role India chooses for itself in ensuring the ceasefire is effected and holds, given that Israel has already rejected the UNGA resolution. There are two things over here. It is too early to see the stand taken by India as a reversal of its position, and we have to wait and watch. Second thing, India has traditionally called for peace, that is one thing. But now, much will depend on the role India chooses for itself in ensuring, make sure something happens. The ceasefire is effected, that means implemented, and holds, given that Israel has already rejected the UNGA resolution. This resolution from United Nations General Assembly has already been rejected by Israel. Now it is not that easy to implement this particular thing. So it all depends on what role India is going to play. Having proven an important expression, I should have brought it in green. It is non-finite verb. Having proven its credentials as a friend to Israel following the terror attacks, as well as odium, an important word we have got for the first time. What does it mean? General or widespread hatred or disgust incurred by someone as a result of their actions. Someone does something and you find it disgusting. Then we use a word odium. Ah, very good. So as so that who is that? Divya. Very good. I appreciate. Naidu. Here you have to recollect affect, effect. It talks about having proven its credentials as a friend to Israel following the terror attacks. Initially, India supported Israel as well as the odium of enabling the civilian deaths. The Modi government must be more vocal in helping the Netanyahu government out of the strategic cul-de-sac it has bombarded its way into. I use this when I talk about foreign words. I tell the students this is an important one, and I think for the first time I have come across in the editorial, at least this year. Cul-de-sac is a foreign expression. What does it mean? A dead-end road, a street or passage that is closed at one end. A dead-end road is called cul-de-sac. Important, it comes under foreign words. So Israel now has gone into something like a cul-de-sac, means a road with a dead end, because it has bombarded its way into something that is unpleasant, not appreciable. One which could cause regional instability and insecurity for decades. Because of this bombardment, it may cause what is the negative impact? Instability in that region and also insecurity for decades, not one decade, many decades. That's all about this editorial. Let us have a look at the questions based on this editorial to improve your comprehension skill. What is the primary focus of the editorial? Try to answer immediately. Then at the last slide, don't leave. Last slide talks about the enrichment. What have you learned today? That will be very useful. De facto, de jure, who is that? Anusha, very good. I appreciate that. Please answer this. To, so that, such as, so as. I appreciate you guys. Very good. Within no time, you are coming up with related information. And others, if you have a look, you will get enriched. You will get benefited. Please have a look at the comments. Other students, they are trying to enrich the session and make the session very useful. What is the primary focus of the editorial? India's economic policies? No way. Israel's military capabilities? No. India stands or stand on the Gaza conflict. Answer is C. Why did India change its vote at the UN General Assembly regarding the Gaza conflict? Initially, it abstained. Now it has voted in favor of a resolution demanding immediate ceasefire. So, what is the reason for this change in the stand or stance? Why did India change? Due to pressure from Israel? No way. A shift in global and Indian public opinion? Hold this one. Following a change in Indian government leadership? No. In response to economic considerations? Stated clearly, a shift in global opinion, not only global opinion, but also Indian public opinion. Answer is B. What was India's previous stance or stand in the conflict before the recent UN General Assembly resolution? What was India's previous stance in the conflict before the recent UN General Assembly resolution? Supportive of Israel, advocating for a ceasefire. Now it is advocating for a ceasefire, not initially. Abstaining from voting. So, change in the shift. First time, abstained. So, it talks about previous stance is what? No, no, abstain from voting. Answer is C. According to the editorial, what factors might have influenced India's change in voting? What factors might have influenced India's change in voting? Increasing casualties and broadening of Israeli military actions seems to be right. Economic considerations and trade agreements, no. Political alliances with Middle Eastern countries, no. Humanitarian efforts in Gaza, not correct. It talks about two things: Israel's original objective, eliminate Hamas and free hostages. But now it has gone far beyond that objective. Now the casualties have gone up, increasing casualties, the death toll, and broadening of Israeli military actions like more territory, occupying more territory. Answer is A, not D. A lot of students have chosen D, that's not right. A, what factors might have influenced? Two factors. One, increasing casualties. Two, broadening of Israeli military actions, means occupying more territory. Clearly mentioned in the editorial. What does the editorial suggest about India's role in the aftermath of the UN General Assembly vote? So, what role should India play? India should align more closely with Israel? No. India should remain passive? That doesn't serve any purpose. India must play a more vocal role in promoting a ceasefire, has been mentioned very clearly. Oh, Manasa, you are there. Morning. Okay. India should distance itself from the Gaza conflict. Not correct. So, what is the answer? C is the answer. The word vocal has been used in the editorial. India must play a more vocal role in promoting a ceasefire because already Israel has rejected the UN General Assembly resolution. Not easy. What have you learned today from this editorial, from this session? Grammar point of view, helping verb must, two functions: personal obligation, second, idea of compulsory. Despite, we have got so many times, you should not use of, and in spite of, you have to use as write as three separate words. And despite is a little more formal than in spite of, even that you have to remember. In favor of a standard phrase, and have used past perfect tense. What is the reason? First time voting, past perfect. Abstained, second time voting in favor of the resolution demanding ceasefire. And yet to detail, and important, yet goes with present perfect, comes at the end of the sentence, but short expression yet to come, yet to detail, yet to answer. But yet can also be an adverb. Do remember, it can be an adverb, it can be a conjunction. Offline classes, right? As of now, no offline classes. Who is that? Gouda. Okay. And effect, Naidu, I think he has already mentioned, effect is a verb. Effect can be a noun, can be a verb. The reason for writing noun in the first position, generally we use the word effect as a noun, not as a verb. As a verb, effect is used in a formal context and rarely used. But when it comes to affect, we use it as a verb, generally effect as a noun. But do remember it is also a regular verb. And coming to vocabulary, bombard means to attack continuously, retaliate, action for some action that is negative. Humanitarian, keeping in mind the welfare of the mankind, cease fire to stop the war temporarily. Truce, armistice, all these words you have to. Abstain takes a preposition from, keep away from, not to indulge in, and condemn, publicly disapprove. Relentless, without stopping, and putting in a lot of effort, relentless efforts. Rational means reason behind your actions. Explicit, direct, clearly stated. Munitions, ammunition, all these you have to recollect. And indiscriminate, unguided, without any reason, at random. Indiscriminate, you can also think of the expression at random. And hostage, a person kept in captivity or a person held in demand of something. Aftermath, the consequences of a particular negative incident, we use the word aftermath. Entreaty is an important word, a formal request. We also use the word urge. We have been getting the word urge in different editorials, we have got many a time. But here, for the first time, we have got the word entreaties. Important word you got to remember. Odium, again, an important word. Someone does something and you find that one disgusting, not acceptable, then you use the word odium. And cul-de-sac, I use regularly. Under foreign words, a road with a dead end. You cannot go beyond that. It's a dead end. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Thanks for joining me. 6 a.m. Not easy. Winter. And someone wants, please wait. I will provide Anusha. I'll provide the PDF for this. Maybe I will start today. I may get some free time. And today's editorial a bit tough. I do agree, Manasa. That's true. Have a nice day and do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you.